Okay, I think we're actually live, which is nice. And we're just gonna get everything ready here. So we're on site in what's called Salurinn in Kópavogur, where the 2014 Icelandic Chess Championship is currently underway. The first round, and let's have a quick look here at the players. And this is one of the strongest Icelandic Chess Championships to date. We have here. There's some flickering. I know why. Should be fixed right now. But as you can see, a very strong field, and leading the field currently is Grandmaster Hannes Stefansson, who is a 12-time champion and always a favorite in this tournament. But this time around we have no less than 6 Grandmasters battling for the championship. There were supposed to be 7, but unfortunately Grandmaster Kristjánsson had to withdraw at the last minute, and he was replaced by Fyrirmaster Einar Hjalti Jensson, rated 2350. And also there was a minor casualty, well, casualty quote unquote. International Master Björn Þorvaldsson couldn't make it either, so Fyrirmaster Guðmundur Gíslason replaces him. But still a very strong tournament, average rating 2456, which is of course very strong. Now let's move on to the games. I actually haven't seen them. I've been busy setting up. And for the first round, some interesting matchups. We have the matchup of the youngest current Icelandic Grandmaster, Hjörvar Gretarsson. He's playing against Héðinn Steingrímsson. And these are the 2nd and 3rd seed in the tournament. And we should mention that Steingrímsson, he was the World Junior Champion, I believe, in 1995. And actually 2 former World Junior Champions playing in this tournament, Steingrímsson and Stefansson. And yeah, Gretarsson and Steingrímsson are the 2nd and 3rd seed in this tournament, and looks like this tournament might also shape up the first sport in the Icelandic Olympiad team. But enough of that, I want to see some games. You can see the games live on the tournament website with computer analysis. But I'm not really interested in computer analysis. Anybody can look at them. I hope I can give you some insights, hopefully. Let's get up to date here. They played the Slav, and I was in the room earlier and I saw that I was playing quite fast. We had the mainline Slav. Hjörvar was opening with d4 or c4, so no surprises there. Knight f3, knight f6, knight into c3. The main line here, taking on c4. e6 is the semi-Slav. And Steingrímsson took on c4, on to a4, mainline stuff, preventing pawn to b5, bishop to f5, control on e5, e4 square. Let's just go on. This is all been seen before. Knight b to d7, knight takes c4, c7, g3, and this is a very old variation. And you might even find games between world champion Öve against world champion Capablanca a long time ago in this variation. Everything's well known here. knight takes e5, bishop f4, and knight after d7, bishop d2. And here, well, I guess around the millennium, Borusevich started to revive this variation here with g5. And the immediate idea, of course, is that we can't take, because then we unpin the knight and we take here. So what happens if we take with a knight? Can we do that? I never really thought of that, but main line here is knight to e3. Pawn takes f4, and knight takes f5. And this has all been seen before countless times, and even though it looks like this was prepared by Stingrimsson, Hjörvar has been playing this with black as well, so he played the moves quite fast here, and I saw he had 1:35 on the clock at one point. Castles, f takes g3, h takes g3. Everything standard here, and now move a5. And this is to stop white's. Okay, in general the rule is don't move a pawn in don't move a pawn. Don't move a pawn in front of your king. But here, a5 actually is important because you stop b4, which is useful to attack on the queen's head. So that's a good prophylactic move. Okay, we'll get to d1. I'm wondering if this is the variation that suddenly Hector was playing for black and making some easy draws in. We'll see. h5, rook takes d8, queen takes d8, rook to d1, queen to f6. Yeah, I think here Hjörvar was still in his preparation, but we'll see some quick moves. Knight e4, and of course this can't be taken because knight d6 check. So he took on e4, queen takes, and bishop to c5. And that's the current position. And the clocks are evening out a bit. Hjörvar with 113, Hidden with 107. And this looks actually quite solid for black. But also white doesn't have any particular weaknesses. This knight is well posted and hard to kick it away. And we can always stay solid with moves like pawn to e3. But black has some ideas like knight g4. In some lines h4 is an idea. Right now, not right now. Or perhaps right now, if it's black to move here. Then h4 might be an idea. So if we make a black's move just for fancies. If knight takes, then f2 hangs. And the question is, what do we take with? Well, probably the queen. And if pawn takes, and we're opening up a little bit the king. It's always an idea. Yeah, now remember, it's noteworthy that Hjörvar was playing in the Reykjavik Open in 2013, and there he lost in exactly this variation against Sopiko Guramishvili, who we should mention. Yeah, is the girlfriend of Anis Giri, the Dutch #1. So this is Gretarsson Stingrimsson. Let's move on to some other games. The first few moves in Danielsen against Bertansson actually caught my eye. Henrik was white. He opened with knight f3. And Guðmundur answered with f5, e4, knight f6. This is a Dutch. And this is quite noteworthy because Henrik Danielsen is one of the leading experts in the Leningrad Dutch for black. So it would be almost be an insult to play the Leningrad Dutch against Henrik, but other ideas. After bishop g5, e6, and I think we quickly got a stone wall on the board. Knight b to d2, pawn to d5, e3, bishop d7. Sometimes the bishop is on e7, sometimes on d6. Depends. We went with bishop e7, c4, c6, and now we set up a stone wall, and you can see why it's called a stone wall. It's an extremely solid formation, but also you pay a price. You give up the e5 square, so it's pros and cons. Bishop to d3, black castled, queen to c2, all fairly standard here. Now black went with knight into e4. Bishop takes e7. Usually when white plays against the stone wall with b3, he didn't play b3 here, but with a bishop on c1, then bishop c1 and exchanging this bishop is often an idea, but there are mixed opinions, and some people say it's an overrated idea and it's not especially bad for black in some cases, but strategically the idea is often just to get this e5 square for the knight, and for that exchanging the black squared bishops as usual. Let's see, knight to d7, a to c1, knight to d2 f6, bishop takes e4, f takes e4, knight to e5, and bishop d7. And quite often in these lines, the idea for white is to, well, exchange one more pair of minor pieces, preferably these knights, and be left with a strong knight against hopefully a bad black squared bishop. Other ideas for white are usually some kind of pawn storm on the queen side, trying to create weaknesses, and meanwhile black's play is usually on the king side. For now the times are fairly equal. Henrik just passed the 1 hour mark, and he has 59 minutes 55 seconds. Guðmundur has 1 hour and 8 minutes, so roughly equal here. This is Kjartansson. Yeah, we should mention that there are only 4 games underway. Of course, it's a 10-player round robin, so 5 games every round. But since Grandmaster Kristjánsson withdrew at the last minute, the game between Einar Hjalti Jensson, who was replacing him, and Helgi Ásgerðarson will start 3.5 hours after these games. And that's so that the players can prepare for the new opponents and not play them at without any preparation. Okay, let's go to another game, and this is an interesting game for many reasons. These players have a long history of meeting each other, and 2 years ago in exactly this building, the so-called Salurinn, which is where the current local soccer team plays. Let's show you the pitch actually. I don't know if you can see it. That's a soccer pitch right there. I don't know if that was visible. But yeah, they played here 2 years ago. They were tied for first in the Icelandic Championship in 2012, and they played an epic match here where first they played rapid games, it was tight, and they played blitz games, it was back and forth. If one guy won, the other guy won back. And finally, think it ended in an Armageddon game where Thorson won his first title. Okay, if you have any requests or anything, you can use the chat on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sibit64. You can also send tweets at Sibit Videos, and I guess you can also find me on Facebook. It's Sibit Videos as well, SIBBAT videos. And you can comment on the link there if you have any requests or questions. But okay, let's go to Bragi against Þröstur. Bragi Þorfinnsson with white, and we had knight f3 as well as in Kjartansson and Danielsen Kjartansson. But Þröstur went with c5. And okay, white can of course transpose to the Sicilian here, but Þröstur is fine with that. He plays the Sicilian in black, so no problems there. Bragi went with g3, and b6 was played. So it seems like Þröstur is going for the hedgehog, which I don't think he's played much, but he plays g6 here, which is now the double fianchetto. Quite a solid line for black, and let's see what transpires. Rook e1. That wasn't played. c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, yeah, and rook e1. Black castled. d4, d6, d4, oops, d4, not d3. And here the classical trap, of course. Knight b7 is a blunder here because of e5. But maybe this is a good version. Okay, we can't take here because now there are two pieces hanging for black, and we can't save both of them. Taking on e5 is the only chance. I guess the best counterplay is by taking here, and either here or taking here. I'm not sure which is best. Maybe wrecking the structure is better. And the main thing is that if here, then knight c6 is strong, followed by taking up e8. And white wins material. So this explains black's next move, which was queen c8. Protecting his bishop, so no more e5 tricks. e3, and we continue with normal development. Knight c2. Queen feels a little bit off on c8 here, but nothing too drastic at the moment. He attacks the knight on c3, bishop protects it, and a pawn to a6. And these positions are always comfortable for white. I mean, classical slight edge, but nothing much. And the one thing going for white here is perhaps that Þröstur doesn't have any big experience in this line. We had the question, is this the English attack transposed? English defense? No, this is more like the English opening. The English defense, c4, b6, usually goes, if we call it the English defense, it usually goes through its own territory. You can imagine, let's go to f3, we go b6, usually it's played against c4, but something like this. And this is more like the English. And most often after c4 we go b6. But once you go like c5, you're transposed into the English. So queen c8, promote this variation, please. Okay, so that's the current position. And please don't be afraid to fire any questions if you have any. The last game we haven't looked at in this round is... Yes, do it like this, then there's no flickering on the board. It's the last game. And quite remarkably, the third game where we open with knight f3. So 3 games out of the 4 have opened with knight to f3. And Stefansson went with knight to f6. So this is FIDE master Gunnar Gíslason against 12-time Icelandic champion Grandmaster Hannes Stefansson. Here we also had c4 b6, g3, bishop b7. Looks like we might have another double fianchetto. Castles, bishop c7, d4, castles, knight g3, and now knight to e4. A solid line for black, trying to exchange some pieces. I mean, white has a slight advantage in space, so it makes sense for black to exchange some pieces to get some space for his pieces to move. Queen to d2, c5, bishop to h6, knight comes to d7, rook after d1, queen c7, and now we have the current position. Rather quiet play, not much going for either side. I guess we could say that white has, theoretically a small advantage, but there's nothing special going on here. So I would say this one for now. Yeah, it looks like nothing special going on, and nobody has made a move since we started looking at the games, actually, which is surprising. So we might actually bring up some interesting games. We might actually bring up some games from the challengers. I'm actually gonna have a quick break right now, just a few minutes. I'll check if the challengers are started. So just leave you with this while we're waiting. I'll see you later. Just a few minutes. Okay, we're back, even with some air. I'm being told that... What does the title on those who are on Twitch, actually? What does the title of the broadcast say? I thought I updated it, so if not, then I'm very upset. Go to dashboard. Should be okay. Oh, might not be logged in here. That's a problem. So let's fix that one. Fix the title. Ah, now I see it. Update. Okay, so now the stream title should be fixed. And let's change. Who's sponsoring us? Just kidding. So let's see if we have some developments in the games, and I might actually as well swing over some of the games from the challengers group, because yeah, those can often be more interesting at times. It seems like the interesting parts in these games are still not happening, you know, immediately. Let's see. John Naylor is asking me what time is this on. So no questions. Fine. We're going to move on and see if we have some updates in the games. We actually have a move in Gretarsson against Stengrimsson. Last move we saw was bishop to c5. But Hjörvar moved his rook to c1, attacking the bishop on c5, which now has to move. Okay, so where do we move this bishop? Ideally you want to keep it on this diagonal here, because there's nice pressure on this pawn. But we also want to keep an eye on the b4 square, because it's possible if you move it back that white might in some cases play b4 to try and open things up on the queen side. Let's say we move the bishop. I'm not sure here or here. Let's try this one. We could potentially flick in this one just to protect the bishop, the knight, and the natural reaction is to move the king. Then we can play b4. And actually maybe putting the bishop on a7 makes more sense in this line. Bishop h3, king b8. Got this protected. And now b4. This guy's protected, and we want to try and open up the queen side for white here. That could be one idea. So it might be useful for black to keep an eye on the b4 square. position is rather quiet and strategical, and really a solid line for black. But on the other hand, Gretarsson has a lot of experience on this line for both white and black, so it's understandable that he wanted to go for it. Often it's better to play an equal position that you know well rather than to play a slightly better position that you don't know too well. And that seems to be the case here. Yeah, rather quiet developments. Just real quickly, I'm gonna okay. We'll see if there are some interesting games in the challengers. Aha. Okay. Mr. Felix. We got a lot of younger players playing against experienced players. But those games just started. They started 1 hour after our Masters games, so they're not very far along yet. So we'll keep an eye on some of those if anything interesting happens. But yeah, the challengers is, as the name would suggest, is for those who do not reach the Masters group to play for the National Championship, and the winner of the challengers, he usually receives a bid to play in the Masters the year after. Let's go back to Kjartansson and oh no, not this one, not this one. Henrik, I'm confused. Oh, I had 2 of the same. That explains things. So I remove this one, and I have to add file. Henrik Gummi. Let's go to this one. Danielson Kjartansson. We left it after pawn to a6. No, we didn't. That's another game. Here we go. Bishop d7, we left it here, talking about good knight against bad bishop, and we have some new moves here. Henrik played c5. And yeah, already I think I can tell what Henrik's strategic goal is. Like we said, the good knight against the bad bishop. He wants to get an endgame, where he's dominating on the black squares, and try to neutralize black on the king side, and play for a pawn advance on the queen side. Gummi played bishop e8. Of course, he wants to reroute this bishop to a more active square. It's completely hemmed in, you know, on the queen side because of these pawns. Often the problem piece in the stone wall. And we went f3. And Gummi has to take, otherwise we take on e4, so this is forced. Now rook takes f3. And here we can't, we can't put the bishop on g6, so bishop h5 is the only active square. So now it's Henrik's move here. And yeah, some of you might know Henrik. He had some YouTube videos some years ago in a channel called Krakkaskák, which translates to kids chess. Unfortunately, it seems that those videos have been deleted, so they're currently not on YouTube. But I think he has a website where he has videos where people can train, where he sends you videos. But currently I can't remember the web address, but I can ask him later for later rounds. Yeah, Henrik of Polar Beer System fame. Just a moment. You know, whenever I'm like this, I'm just checking for comments, so don't worry. I'm still with you. Still with y'all. Um, come on, work. Also has some duties because of the. Okay, here it is. Okay, fine. Because of the homepage, so some stuff to do. Come on, the old system. Okay, we're back. What do you mean we're back? We've been here all along. Bishop h5 and rook h3. This has been played. And how does this look for our friend here? It looks tricky. Are there any immediate threats? Maybe. Maybe white can think about a move like g4. If it's white to move, can we play g4? So I made it white to move here. So just to see if there's a threat here. The idea, of course, is that we have this guy hanging. So if knight takes, take this, which doesn't look great for black, and if bishop takes, then we take on d4, knight takes d4, and queen takes h7. King has to run, and we can win the knight here, at least. That's not looking too great for black. So g4 is the immediate threat in the position, so black to move here after rook to h3. Henrik down to 44 minutes, and Gumi with 56. I have a feeling he might spend some time here, and as he should. So it looks like, yeah, white should be doing better here. I mean, he has some threats. Black has to deal with them, and long term, we have to like this knight on e5. As always, black has to look out for this knight being posted here the whole game, and this bishop becoming bad. So those are the consideration. This is what they're thinking about right now. again, if you have any questions, use the Twitch. You can use Facebook on my Sibit videos page, or you can use Twitter, Sibit videos. So let's see if we have some new moves in some other games. Oh, Gumi actually moved. He made the move G6, and probably he didn't have a choice. G4 was a big threat. We can't really. Makes no sense to move the bishop that we just moved. So I mean, bishop e8 makes no sense really. And then we might even think about knight g4, maybe. Yeah, this could be a move. Not necessary, but okay. G4 is also a move. G4, G5. So actually, G6 was played here. And yeah, I mean, first glance this looks risky, because if white can organize G4, then this bishop is trapped. But on the other hand, it's not a threat immediately. Yeah, Henrik's still thinking. It's not an immediate threat. Maybe not so easy to organize this move. And technically okay. We have all the pawns on light squares, and now the bishop is out of the chain, which is useful, but it's not on a really great diagonal. So pros and cons here for both sides. And it surprised me how quickly Gumi made his move here, but he did. Do we have some other developments? Slow developments in the other games. Let's have a look at them nonetheless, just to keep up. And if you have any preference for a game, then of course we'll have a look at those. Rook 8 to c1 was the last move that we looked at in Guðmundur Gíslason against Stefansson. And he's with knight f6. Looks like his strategy is revolving around this e4 square. Wants to control the square at all costs. Bishop takes g7, king takes g7. Now, theoretically, white has managed to weaken black's king side a little bit, but on the other hand, there are no pieces really ready to attack here, so it doesn't seem like a big deal at the moment. b3 was played just to fortify the structure and maybe introduce an idea of putting the queen on the same diagonal as the king. And Hannes put his queen on b7. He also has diagonal ideas. Now he has this battery on this diagonal, but white can easily release the tension with 91 here if he wants. So at the moment, not much going on. We can black shouldn't have any problems, so we can imagine an endgame here where white plays too passive. We don't even have to take, but maybe the knight is not doing too great on this square. And in some cases we can think about a b5 break. I'm not sure it's good right now. Maybe something like this, and then or take on this. And then the typical move at some point would be b5. But there's no rush to do this. And black can also just keep the tension. It's not clear what how to make progress really for either side here. So rather quiet games at the moment. I'm trying to close the window. Look at that. That's some messed up technique. Okay, we have a new move here. Queen to e3. Yeah, really quiet. This game at the moment. Not much going on. Yeah, maybe in some positions, okay. Ideally, black goes for some kind of a minority attack on the queen side. At some point, you mentioned maybe taking and going b5. At some stage, a5, a4 is also always an idea for black. But right now, this actually looks kind of slow and boring, to be honest. Just want to see how things look on the home page. Actually, this is the first round, so we're getting things underway. So potentially some hiccups. Hopefully everything is okay. Seems okay, right? We have a visitor on the set. Soon to be Firmaster, Björn Erik Carlson. Hvað gerast? Og rólega. Very quiet games, we agree on that. What should we have a look at? This is boring. Maybe a few more moves in Friday's game. Which we left after a6. I played 93, c5, into d2, and e6. Okay, a typical move by Thruster, who's always rather tricky, so I guess he has something evil in mind. If we take on d6.
Yeah,
With d8. Queen to f4, and can we trap the queen somehow?
93.
We don't have to trap it, we just win the military here. I'm going to take the bishop, the rook of course. So interesting move. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the one thing going for Bragi here is I don't think Thruster has been playing positions like this much in his career, so definitely the edge goes to Bragi in this one. Yeah, maybe it's possible to get a position like this out of a Sicilian if you allow the more occupied, maybe with these pawns. I have a feeling he hasn't played this much because usually against knight f3 and d4 he's playing either some semi-Slav or Kunchikaba declined or accepted, so this looks like a new choice for Thruster here. And okay, tactically it fails to take this pawn, but in the future this pawn could become a weakness, so black has to watch out. It's not on e3, interesting. He really wants to just clamp down on any expansion with b5 or d5. So white doesn't need to do anything. He'll just play a move like rook c1 or rook d1 and slowly try and build up. So pressure on d6, and usually at some point we build up on the queen side with b4 at some point maybe. Okay, which is Guðmundur against, no, yeah, Guðmundur against Ray against Þröstur, I mean. We just looked at Gíslason and Stefansson. Yeah, we haven't looked at Hjörvar against Héðinn for a while. Let's have a look at that one. Bishop c5 and rook c1. The last few moves. Where did he put the bishop? He put it on b4. I was worried about moving the bishop away from the b4 square because of some opportunities for white to play b4. But now, after this, bishop to b4, knight to d4.
Threatening f4 maybe?
Yeah, yeah, and if it's white to move, then maybe we can think about f4. And the idea is knight takes c6. This can't be taken back because rook takes c6. With devastation in the station. But Stinkerson will certainly notice that. And it's a common idea in these lines, a sacrifice on c6. And even if we play king b8, it's 94. I think about sacrificing here, it might be possible. Because I'm not sure it works, but we're opening up this spatter of queen and bishop, so we only need we don't need much to give checkmate. Probably it's not working here, but it's always dangerous or something to think about. Well, rook b6. King c7, rook b7 was the queen.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah, and king c8, we can, well, at least go here. Maybe even, this is an interesting line. Queen c7, we have a charming move, rook b8, deflecting the king to a square where it's going to be checkmated. So always some ideas like this that black has to watch out for in these lines. So interesting to see what move Stinkerson comes up with, and he makes the move rook d8.
And now after f4 he can probably take on d4.
Yeah, and this has a threat of its own for black. If now we go for f4, which was working in all lines before, now black has to counter rook takes d4. And if we take, we lose the queen. Nice discovery here, but okay, we can maybe escape with queen takes e5, but this looks quite good for black, who has the better pawn structure here, and can think about winning this endgame.
Ever played e3?
Yeah, so what to do? I was thinking e3 might be just staying solid. And the classical move in this structure, and also with the bishop. You want to have your pawns usually on the opposite color of your bishop, so that you're covering more squares and you're giving your bishop more scope. So yeah, once I mean, these guys are Grandmasters, so they notice most of the threats. And without the threats, there's really not that much going on in the position, so I don't think a draw here is out of the question. Wouldn't surprise me, but on the other hand, I have a feeling they want to beat each other for various reasons that we can't go into, but we'll see. I think they will fight pawn to e3. Time is really similar, 45 minutes, roughly both. Okay, maybe the most interesting game is actually Henrik against Kjartansson, Henrik Danielsson against Guðmundur Kjartansson, which we left after g6. Henrik played rook g3, knight d7, and knight d to f3. Okay. White's dream is the exchange, and he has a really strong knight here. Not immediately apparent what this bishop is doing. And I'm wondering if
If he takes on f3,
strategically this would be what you want to play, but then the question becomes, can White play this move? Seems like he can, because if we take it as queen takes, there's no way to interpose anything, and this is just checkmate, right? As far as I can see. So can't really do much here. Yeah, in this case, black would lose material. You'd have to move the queen, and then we can just take on f8 with jack, at least win an exchange. So that's out of the question. So what does black do here? Okay, looks bad maybe because both the exchanges are bad, but what if we do nothing? Maybe yeah, okay. This is the computer's first choice. I was wondering if we can, take here, just take on f3, and then take on d7, and then hopefully not have any problems. And if we want to keep the good knight, then so all of a sudden then no, the bishop is okay because it's in the center of the board on a good square. Okay, but Gumi thinking about things here, and he has a 10-minute time match, but for now the time match isn't really all that relevant or important. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there are any interesting games or positions in the challengers group. This looks like, yeah, we might just forget about that one. Only 7 moves in this one. Solid, solid. Yeah, nothing spectacular happening in the challengers either. Yeah, maybe this game is a bit boring as well, but Henrik is he's a rather good endgame player, so I wouldn't count anything out yet. And Gumi likes to fight until the bitter end, so I predict we'll have a long game here for sure. Yeah, nothing special going on, so we're actually gonna take a short break and come back in like 5-10 minutes. Glömde konum mín. Forgot I was in the picture, man. And we're back. So we want to look at Thorfinnsson. Thoraldsson. Boom, boom, boom. E6. Let's get some moves. Yep, Brady played like I predicted, rook a to d1. Yeah, for those who didn't see that earlier, that if queen takes pawn, rook attacks queen, only one square for the queen, now knight d3. For Calicious move. For Calicious. Rook d8 now protecting the pawn. Because now we were covering d3, although okay, it was still a trap, but still played rook d8, f4, e5, and knight e2.
My feeling was he had to try to exchange the dark square bishops earlier.
Oh.
Maybe. Right.
Instead of
maybe after rook d1, rook d8, try to play knight somewhere, not f4. Because I think Thruster can play knight d3. I think I might have missed that.
yeah, so in general,
I mean, because he has knight on e3, jump to g4 maybe.
yeah, would be good for white to get maybe the exchange of this bishop for this one.
I mean, he's not forced to take, but
Yeah, of course not, but seems useful for white. Also, yeah, black can't. This might be possible, but it's also gives up a big weakness here. But maybe black can play around this. But another e6 and d4 as well. So pros and cons. I'm not sure. But okay, yeah, this would be a different game really. f4, e5, knight e2. Should check like. I'm hoping that we're still up. I think we are. Up and running. Yep, that's okay. It's just bad connection on this one. let me know if the sound is not okay, please. So this is the current position, and we have confirmation of the sound. And black might play knight d3, you say? And the idea is if you take, then black has an unopposed black squared bishop, and this pawn is not something white wants to take because this will hang.
Or even bishop a6 maybe. So
Yeah, and
oh, I can go to b6. Oh, no, g5.
Or yeah, also go to g5, yeah. Okay. But it doesn't look like a really safe square for the queen either way.
That must be happy.
Yeah.
And if he takes on g7,
yeah,
maybe he can.
If our bishop was on h1, then we could just deflect this one back, but
Yeah, maybe.
we'll just take. And there doesn't seem to be any trickiness because black can interpose a diagonal here, so should not be a problem. And so 93, I think we're forced to take on
D3.
On d3. That looks absolutely forced. Yeah.
Maybe some practical chances after the bishop takes g7 and then put the bishop on f6 or something.
Ah,
For example.
something like this.
Looks uncomfortable for black, but
You have to take. I guess we're taking the.
maybe.
I think I want the knight to jump to d4. Yeah, of course. This might be something you could play on a blitz, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there are ideas like f5, knight g4, queen h6.
Maybe just play rook d7 and queen f8.
Yeah, now you have queen f8, if and when you need it.
Some chances for white.
Yeah, this bishop is quite strong actually. I wouldn't. Ryu sometimes takes
Yeah, he might
chances like this. I wouldn't count it out that he would actually play something like this. That's not out of the question. Because, okay, although he's most of the time playing quite solid, he can also play very dynamic chess at times. And sometimes it backfires, but sometimes it works for him. He's quite good at it. So yeah, we'll keep an eye. Definitely interesting to see what. Well, if Thruster goes for 93, which he hasn't played yet, so this is the position currently. Okay, sehr gut. Questions. Oh, shout out to Icelandic chess legend Gylfi Þórðarson, who is 60 years old today. I think he is currently the Icelandic player with the most rated games for Icelandic rating. Either him or Sævar Bjarnason.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm sure.
Either one, but yeah, Gylfi, everybody knows him in Iceland and everybody likes him. So happy birthday, til hamingju með afmælið Gylfi minn. Happy birthday to Gylfi. Okay, let's have a look at some other games. First, we're still thinking 25 minutes. Soon he will be done to. Some developments in Stefansson's game. Hjörvar rather quiet. Not many moves since last time. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe Gíslason and Stefansson first. Which we left at queen e3. Let's get the proper names under the diagram. Gíslason, Stefansson. Yeah, so Fieldmaster Gíslason had to join the tournament with rather short notice yesterday, but he was expecting that he might be able to join. Then finally we had another late addition, and that's the reason why one of the games will not start till in about an hour. Einar Hjalti Jensson against Grandmaster Helgi Ásk Gretarsson. Well, we actually have plenty of moves. We left it at the queen e3. Hannes took on d4, which I was speculating. I thought he would go for, yeah, at some point rook c8, and then maybe go for some kind of minority attack with b5 or at some point a5, a4. b5 looks more logical. In this structure, rook a to c8 he played, rook c to d1, rook c5. Yeah, probably a solid square for the rook. I mean, in some cases you can swing over to the queen side if you need to, but okay, not very likely in the immediate future. But also you rule out any c5 business by white. White went h3. pawn refuses to go to h3. Finally, it settles on that square. b5. Yeah, the break that we anticipated, but interestingly, he doesn't take back on b5. He goes rook after c8. So that was one of the ideas with rook c5 to double on the c file, arguing that he can take this pawn when he wants. And well, maybe it's hard to defend this pawn. If you try to defend it, then immediately rook c3 wins the b3 pawn. So let's see what. Oh, rook a4. Yeah, this might be a move that Hannes perhaps didn't see. Yeah. I had some notes on Hannes. He's or Stefansson. He is the 12th time champion of Iceland, I believe. Maybe 13, I think 12th time. Well, maybe you can forgive us for losing count at some point. And he's the defending champion, current #1 seed, and for many years the first sport in the Reykjavik, in the Icelandic Olympiad team. Oftentimes he's referred to as the robot here in Iceland because he always finds the best move and doesn't spend a lot of time on them. So has a great feel for positions, good technique, and just knows where the pieces go. But at times his weaknesses can be in complicated positions and calculation. So that's where you have some chances of maybe catching him. But yeah, rook a4. Now if we take the queen on b5, then rook takes a7, and rook takes b5 allows rook takes a7. Okay, so can't take the pawn immediately. So rook 8 to c7, and this adds defense to the pawn. Now king h2. And now black. Well, he can't take just yet because I forgot that this bishop is hanging. Of course, it would take with the queen, and rook takes e4. So we need to take care of this bishop, and then we can take back the pawn on b5. And I think in terms of evaluating a position, we can say that perhaps black is slightly better because he has more pawns in the center, and we can imagine if at some stage this pawn goes to e6, then black is controlling all these squares, kind of like you do in the Sicilian at times. So white to move here, and no, black to move after king h2 actually, and yeah, it looks more lively than it did a while ago actually. After move 16, queen e3, then what's going on? But black has managed to breathe some life into this position. Once we take care of the bishop and take the pawn, then we can think about rook c2 and trying to attack something. And meanwhile, black doesn't really have any big weaknesses, does he? In my opinion. Again, if you have any preference for a game you'd like to see, the games are also live, of course, on the website. Where you can look at them. And if you have any questions, you can use the chat directly in Twitch. You can send us You can contact us on Facebook, facebook.com/sibitvideos, and sibitvideos on Twitter as well. I'll get a graphic for you for the broadcast so you can see it for the later rounds, but for now I don't have anything. Okay, any developments elsewhere? Only 2 moves in Hjörvar against Jeden. Gummi and Gummi made some moves, but not much has changed really. So we're going to look at it either way. Richardson, Stingrimson, which we left at, I believe, 24 E3. No, I was not going to look at this one, was I? It's time to look on that. Yeah, I was. No, I wasn't. I was going to look at Henrik against Gummi. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? So this is not Henrik against Gummi. F5. Knight D to F3. This one is. Yeah, here we left it. And we talked about some exchanges here for black. Bishop takes F3 wasn't working. So we went knight takes E5, but I thought this was what white wanted, the strong knight on E5, and with this bishop slightly out of play. Go to F5. Yeah, the computer argues that the position should be around equal, but I think most people would prefer white. Yeah, I would at first sight, but even though this bishop looks quite strange on H5, he's doing a good job annoying white pieces. Yeah, he maybe keeps the position together. No attacks here, and well, this rook maybe can't come back into the game immediately because black's taking over the F file and yeah, this move is coming. So maybe some counterplay keeping the balance. Henrik went for pawn to E4 here. Gummi went rook F4, rook to E1, rook A to F8. Yeah, I think yeah, most people think about making luft here because if black takes on E4, we want to take with the rook, but at the moment we can't because we hang the back rank. So making luft makes sense. Perhaps taking on D5 is an option, but on the other hand, there isn't any dangerous discovery if we take with the E-pawn. Yeah, I wonder which one is better, E takes or C takes. My feeling is E takes. Just to keep the queenside structure solid. And we can resolve this queen at any given moment. And okay, white isn't. Well, yeah, knight d3. Yeah, we don't play rook e4. But if we could, if we had to, we could. But we could just take on e1. So that's not a very good threat by white. So yeah, it's a white move here after rook a to f8, and well, we're moving closer to to the time travel stage. They're down to 24 minutes for white against 31 for black. Yeah, the time control for the tournament is 90 minutes for 40 moves plus 30 seconds each move. And then they get extra time after 40 moves. Is it half an hour?
I'm not sure.
I think it's half an hour. So we go to the legendary of this event. Yeah, at least they get some extra time after move 40. I hope my connection on this computer is okay still. Let's yeah, it is. So white to move here, and yeah, not much going on really. Not the most exciting game of the round actually, but there's still some tension in this position, and we'll see in the next few moves what happens here. Yeah, maybe we should move to Bragi and Thruster. Seems like the most energetic game so far. We had yeah, this position he didn't play.
Didn't play 93.
He went queen to c7.
Maybe he was afraid of.
Maybe he was afraid of the sacrifice, which wouldn't surprise me if Bragi had gone for that.
No, I think White's just very comfortable.
Yeah, looks solid for white. If you exchange this bishop, and black has some weaknesses to worry about in f6, and white decides to pounce immediately on the weakened black king side with g4. Very aggressive strategy by Bragi, who has a small time at 29 minutes against 22. Yeah, his immediate idea might be, of course, g5, but yeah, what's the g4? Yeah, it doesn't look too great for black actually. Not something I would want to defend. With the clock taking down. Do we have some? So what are some possible continuations here? I mean, white is thinking about g5 and then knight g4, so it looks tricky.
I think it looks bad.
Yeah. can we get away with? I mean, e5 just
Yeah, 95.
just allows 95. And where to put this queen? We have to watch out for some knight fork. So maybe we go over here, but we can think about rook f1. You know, lining rook against the queen. It's starting to look shaky with all the pieces lining up here. Good positions. Black might already be in trouble here after this. So something like this. Let's say g5. Yeah, e5 allows you know, just complete destruction. Something like this. Yeah, knight c4 always looks good, but then we don't have knight d5 anymore. Maybe the knight on e2 isn't doing anything special. Maybe even takes knight d4.
Yeah.
Because we have a pin here. We're attacking this.
Or maybe just f5 if you want to go completely.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, f5. Just go all in.
Knight f4. And
Yeah. This, okay, not this one, but this, right here. This is quite tender here. So black has to come up. Okay, he went b4. And this doesn't change a whole lot. The queen is still on this diagonal. But it does change a few things. The queen can't swing over on the third rank. There's no more she takes b5 like we had in one variation. But other than that, I think the situation remains more or less the same. Black needs to find a defense for the f6 square, which looks quite tricky at the moment. Yeah, this position you're gonna need Ibuprofen definitely. Ibuprofen. Have you tried the Ibuprofen? Well, let's drink something. Let's have a crystal. So yeah, we definitely like white here. And I think Thruster is still thinking b4, queen b2. And not so easy right now. Not so easy. Yeah, Vlad, I'm coming for you. Vlad is asking from which priest did I steal this shirt? Vlad, I'm coming for you, my Moldavian friend. I kill you! From which priest you stole this shirt? Come on. You don't like it? Vlad, what's going on? Oh no, we're just kidding. Some crazy bastards. Thruster's still thinking, let's get rid of these arrows, otherwise you're gonna need ibuprofen for your headache or pain. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. would not want to be black here, but of course it's not lost, but it's a difficult position. So if we had to make a bet here, I would put my money on Bragi.
Yeah.
Okay, a few moves in. Few moves in Gretarsson against Steingrímsson. It's not working on an iPad. So let's go back to Gretarsson and Steingrímsson, which we left after. I think we left after E3, didn't we?
Yeah. He played King B8.
Yeah, King B8, Rook to C2, King A7. I remember correctly. Yes, and now Queen to F4.
If we go back one move instead of Queen F4, could he have played F4 in this position?
F4 in this position. This was always
And maybe
one of our ideas earlier in the game. And
then after knight G4,
knight G4,
knight takes C6.
knight takes C6. We had some ideas like this. Okay, black has to take, otherwise it's lose material. Rook takes C6, and where to put the queen? Maybe no. Okay, let's just get rid of some moves. Rook D6, check, and there's mate on B7 next move, no matter where we go. Queen E7. We could
Can always take
could go for the ending maybe. And it's we're up 2 pawns. And we can't win any material on the back rank, it's okay. This pawn is attacked. I mean, okay, worst case scenario, I mean, White's not going to lose this and probably it's going to have chances.
Yeah.
But, okay, Black will maybe attack one pawn immediately and have an active king. But surely this is good for White. So what remains? Do you want to check or something? Is this anything to think about or worry about? Yeah, well now the bishop is no longer on the diagonal, so maybe now we can go back.
Yeah. Or Rook C7.
But Rook C7 still, yeah. It's still made on B7. And yeah, well.
And if he goes Queen D8, then I think in this position, if Black goes Queen D8.
Hang on a minute. No. Can we get a lot of material here? No, it's check. Okay, yeah. I was trying to figure out some tactics, but of course it's just check.
And if it goes Queen D8, I think Rook A6.
Yeah, should win. I mean, at least we get the queen with Rook. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's even mate. Yeah, it's mate. Here we go, back and forth here. Ring around the rosy, checkmate. So a lot of checkmate ideas. So we're wondering if perhaps Euro could have played F4 here. Let's go back. Yeah, it doesn't really matter where we put the knight. If we put it on D7, it doesn't really change anything for the defense of B7. So yeah, was this Something he could have done maybe? Okay. Okay. This actually looked good for white. Rook d1, bishop f1. And how do we not immediately lose here for black? Yeah, queen e7 now. We had queen d8 that was made.
Yeah.
And queen e7 now, then okay, we can always go for the hunting, take the queen and rook c7 check.
Maybe just mate.
Maybe use looks like yeah, it's the same mate, so it doesn't matter if you get a d8 square, it's also checkmate. So looks really dangerous and not at all clear how black can escape from this. And this is an absolute key idea you must know in this line if you play it for either side.
Yeah. So. I mean, is there some crazy tactical resource like queen takes c6 and knight takes e3 or something?
Aha. Queen takes e6, knight takes e3, we're trying to win back some big amounts of material here.
I mean, it doesn't look like he can take the knight on e3, but yeah.
No, we have no check on this diagonal, so probably we can't. There doesn't seem to be any good way to improve the queen, because the rook is covering. You know, sometimes when you're giving checks, you can like go here, here, blah, 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 you know, improve the queen, but since the rook covers the d file, we can't really improve the queen in any good way. I mean, okay, white has at least a perpetual, but that's probably not what he is after with f4.
You can't see it.
No, I mean, okay, we can make him take with a knight, but I see no way to capture the rook or anything, so yeah, let's see. I mean, rook d1, oh sorry, rook d1, bishop f1. Now queen takes c6. White doesn't have any way to avoid this, it seems. I mean, rook d1 is forced. Queen takes c6, we have to take on c6. Knight takes e3, I mean, what else? That's the whole idea with this. Yeah, so maybe white just has to go for this. Just take some pawns.
Yeah. Somebody's suggesting queen a6 then queen b5, but I think the king just stays on the a file.
Yeah, yeah. We go back. Yeah, queen a6. King here and queen b5.
And then king a7, there are no more checks. Instead of king a8, then queen e8 check. Like start the knight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the only threat to check on e8 and get the knight, but we can't. So I think we have to settle for just taking a pawn here if it's not tactically. Whoops. Tactically vulnerable, I think it's okay. But I mean, black shouldn't have any problems here, and it looks like this might even be a fortress. Just play here and rook e1, and white can't attack anything.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, it's not out of the question that that Hjörvar even considered this and just rejected this variation. Instead, he went for queen to f4. Yeah, so I mean, hard to assess in such a short time, but probably the ending with with f4 and knight takes c6 might just be on the draw side, if anything. So do we have any moves? After queen f4, Stinkerson took on f4, and of course we have to take with the g-pawn, otherwise our knight hangs, and knight into d3. And yeah, the computer actually starts to slightly prefer black here, but it liked white in the ending, but maybe it was not so clear after all. Yeah, black looks extremely solid here, and the knight on d3. You know, we have some ideas of knight e1 in some cases. If like bishop f3, you can imagine bishop f3. It's probably a blunder here. Yeah. Well, we can maybe counter sacrifice on e1, but of course we'll take here. It's lost, but can we get? Still, black can play risk-free, it seems here. Well, it's just gonna be a draw. Yeah, my initial feeling was this would actually be a draw, but then okay, yeah, I mentioned that I thought they would actually battle it out. Well, we'll see. 93 and bishop e4 was played actually. Bishop to e4, and now we have to move a knight somewhere.
And it looks like Stinkerson can play knight takes f4 and go to an endgame with colored bishops.
Federer is allowing this.
Yeah, maybe knight takes c6 check.
Yeah. True, knight c6 check.
And then, okay.
Yeah, this must be equal. I mean, this hangs, so I guess c5 is more or less forced. And there shouldn't be any problems to hold this for white. The only real trump is the passed h pawn, but shouldn't be anything to worry about.